Hello guys, Chris here and welcome back to another video. This one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing the GeForce GTX 980 in Forza Horizon 5. This one is the Asus Strix model of the card. It comes already overclocked out of the box. I'm not pushing it further, as you can see, although this model is actually a really good overclocker, but most people actually don't overclock these cards, so here we go. We are running it with the latest Nvidia drivers, 512.77, and you can check out all of its specs here in Tech Power Up's GPU Z. It's from 2014. It has 2048 shaders or CUDA cores and 4 GB of GDDR5. Over on the left, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 95900X and 32 GB of RAM to avoid CPU bottlenecks. And let's get right into it, shall we? Alright, let's go for the settings, and we're playing at 4K resolution. Yes, we're starting this off at 4K. I'm really curious to see what it can do at high settings in 4K res. And of course, then we're gonna drop it to 1440p and 1080p. Maybe test some higher or lower settings, and maybe 8K as well. Oh yes, look at that. That is so detailed and sharp. I love it. I love Forza, guys. At 4K, it looks so good. And high settings are also really nice in terms of visuals to performance ratio. I mean, look at this. Doesn't it look awesome, guys? Wow. Of course, we're running out of VRAM, so those warnings are gonna keep on popping up. If it's only barely going over the VRAM limits, it will only happen a couple of times per like 10 or 15 minutes, so it's not really that annoying, and it doesn't really stutter too much because of the lack of VRAM, honestly. I mean, this is super smooth, actually, so far. I've seen a couple of frame time spikes, but they weren't really that noticeable, honestly. And how many of you expected the 980 to do so well here at 4K resolution? This is high settings. It looks super sharp and detailed. It's beautiful. I mean, what the heck? This is an 8-year-old card, guys. 8-year-old card running a 2021 game, late 2021 game, at 4K high settings. We need to go to the big city, which is in this direction, and now I'm gonna crash against everything I see. Okay, no, we're fine. Yeah, none of the trees have stopped us so far. I guess no tree can stop the GTX 980, guys. This GPU sometimes is very similar in performance to a GTX 1066 GB, by the way, and it shows right here. I think this 1066 gig, I'm not sure if it did better or worse than this. I tested it a while ago, so I don't remember. City area, very intensive, guys, and it's not really dropping that much. Maybe it's because we are in this part of the city and not looking at it from above, but this is very impressive still. I mean, this is totally playable. If I was playing with a controller, I think I would choose these settings, honestly, because it feels great with the controller and 30 FPS still, and it just looks amazing at 4K res. Tunnel areas are super intensive in this game. It's dropping into the 30s. Not too bad. Again, if you lock it to 30, it's going to be a smooth and consistent experience. It's also doing a much better job than like the GTX Titan that we tested a couple of weeks ago. That also could play the game at 4K medium settings reasonably well with a couple of drops from 30, but yeah, I was impressed at that GPU. That's a 2013 GPU, came out a year earlier than this. Okay, now is the real test. Looking at the entire city from above, it doesn't seem to drop from like 35. So we've seen already a little bit more intensive scenarios than these. Yeah, this is really good. 4K high settings is super playable on the GTX 980. That's insane. And a 4 gig card as well. You'd think that it would run out of VRAM and would start stuttering and stuff, or maybe getting you low FPS, but nope. Super consistent and super nice. Getting out of the tunnel, very intensive. It only drops to 29, so very, very nice. I'm curious though, 7680 by 4320, that's 8K resolution. Yeah, it's gonna run like crap. You can already see the VRAM is just taking a huge hit right now, of course, and I'm just gonna increase the size of it. Yeah, that's the best I can do right now, guys. So this is 8K high settings. The 1080 Ti could actually run this game like this, by the way. Yeah, we are definitely running out of VRAM, and it's affecting this card by a lot. 9 FPS. I guess it's decent for screenshots, honestly, guys, because you can still move around and frame your screenshots. I suggest you to lower the resolution to frame it better and then bump it up to 8K if you want to take some screenshots. But yeah, this is not too bad. Maybe at the end of the video, I'm actually going to try 8K low or very low to see if it becomes playable, because 10 FPS is 10 FPS. At least it doesn't have a ton of input lag, so there's that. And let's drop it down now to 1440p. Here we go, 2560 1440, high settings preset. Let's do this. Oh, so much smoother. Damn! Of course, we're looking in this direction, not looking at the city, so it's not as intensive, but okay, we're reaching the 60s now. That's very impressive coming from a card like this at 1440p, guys. Because usually people would say, damn, we did a flip. That's not what usually people would say. Yes, they would say that like 69 FPS average. That's amazing. That if you want to play games at 1440p or recent titles at 1440p, you need like an RTX 3070 or 3060 Ti or better. And that's true, of course, if you want to play them at higher settings. But as you can see, even an 8-year-old GTX 980 can play games at 1440p. It just depends on the games, of course. This is very well optimized, as I told you. So it's easier to run on the GTX 980 at 1440. But yes, it's still very impressive. It looks beautiful still. All right, let's see outside of the tunnel. 30s, not too bad. Only drops into the 30s whenever you are in those HDR areas, I guess. Getting out of the tunnels, you get all of that light coming into your screen, and that's what causes the FPS to drop. Because whenever you get out of tunnels during the night, for example, that doesn't happen. That's why I usually test it here during the day. So yeah, looking at the entire city, really good. Still 60 FPS on average almost, and in an intensive scenario. So if you are just driving around the world, it's going to be even higher in terms of the averages. Let's go down to 1080p. Now this resolution is of course very adequate for a 980 these days, given that it runs the same as a GTX 1060, for example. And yes, we can finally achieve those 60 FPS on average, even in intensive areas. And I don't really worry too much about the FPS dropping from 60 in this game, because it's just a car game. You don't really need very quick reflexes unless you are playing it competitively, which I don't know if people play Forza competitively, but I was seeing some flying plants. Wait a second. I need to show you this. Those plants were flying. Yes, look at that. Okay, that messed around with my brain a little bit. I needed to see that again. Oh, hello there. Okay, so again, guys, really good results at 1080p. Of course, if it was playable at 4K, it will be buttery smooth at 1080. I'm a little bit lost in these streets, I'm not gonna lie. I want to... Oh, it's not... Yeah, there's nothing here. I want to go back to the tunnel area. Take a look at the entire city from up there, because, again, it's very intensive. Yeah, let's go. Let's do that. I think it's in this direction. I'm really not sure. There are tons of roads here. I'm lost, guys. Yeah, 1080p high settings. You don't have the VRAM limitation problem anymore, so there is no warning signs popping up out of nowhere. Annoying little bastards, you know. Yeah, this is really nice. It's right here, the tunnel that we want to see. By the way, in this direction, it's not as intensive, which is weird as well. Look at that, the contrast was happening there, or the HDR stuff, and nothing happened. It's only in the other direction. Maybe they forgot to optimize this tunnel. Maybe they put the tunnel here on purpose so I could benchmark it, and thank you very much for that, the Microsoft or whoever makes this game. 46 FPS, 1% lows there, or not 1% lows, minimum. So really nice and smooth, even in intensive areas, guys. I wouldn't drop it from high settings because it starts looking pretty bad at medium. I guess we should actually try it out on ultra, right? I'm not gonna test extreme because extreme looks almost the same as ultra and it is more taxing. So ultra settings it is. I think we're gonna run out of VRAM even at 1080p though. Oh, a few stuttering issues, as you can see, definitely caused by the VRAM. Again, the warning sign, second one from 1080p ultra. Yeah, it's definitely not recommended to play at ultra settings with a 4 gig card in this game, unfortunately, guys. Even though, in terms of FPS, it's actually really nice. And surprisingly, yeah, in terms of stability, I knew that was gonna happen. But yes, in terms of stability, it isn't too bad. It only stutters a little bit sometimes. But we've seen much worse, of course, especially with new game releases like Evil Dead, for example, Ghostwire Tokyo, Fortnite, the latest season or whatever. Yeah, those games stutter like hell, and they're completely unplayable sometimes. Just because they need to load the shaders as you play the game and they don't do it beforehand. This one, however, it actually does it beforehand, I think. That's why the loading takes a little bit longer than some other games. But of course, it's much better this way. I wish more developers did it this way. And here we are, city area. Ooh, dropping into the lower 30s. Oh boy, okay, this is a little bit rough. Yeah, it's dropping into the 20s as well. If you overclock the card a little bit, it will actually sustain 30 plus all of the time, but it's getting really close to that unplayable side of things. Yeah, looking at the entire city from here, 32. Should we even go to the tunnel and see it? Yeah, let's just do that. I stopped counting the FPS there, but it doesn't really matter. I just want to see this. Oh my god, 22 minimum there. 1440p, not even gonna resize that because we're not gonna spend a lot of time here. Yeah, it's already dropping. Oh my god, look at that. Yep, 20s, not good, guys. Although it doesn't really change that much compared to 1080p, we only lost what, like 5 to 7 FPS or something like that. Yeah, it is really rough. High settings definitely the way to go, guys. And just so we are even, let's do 4K a little bit. You know, just to take a look at the entire city here. Oh, yes. Well, we get 20s, lower 20s. It might even drop from 20 at times. So definitely not recommended. What I want to see next is that other thing that we talked about. 8K resolution. All right. Oh God. Shouldn't have applied it with the ultra settings. It's probably gonna crash. And there we go. It actually closed itself and died. All right, we did it, guys. It's 8K, very low settings now. Oh, it's cinematic. We got the cinematic frame rate there for a second, 24. That's what I wanted. Oh boy, it is so bad actually, guys. Yeah. So we're not even in the city area, and oh, just look at that difference, by the way. It's also using less VRAM like this than at 1080p Ultra, which is interesting. But it's obviously not playable. It stutters as well. It's a cinematic experience. You know what? If you actually enable some motion blur, it's like watching a movie. Yes, let's do that, shall we? Let's make it completely awful looking. Should we do like long motion? Like, this is just how terrible can you make it look, basically, at 8K. Well, I guess it feels a little bit smoother than it did before. But no, still gotta get to the city, of course. Gotta complete the benchmark run properly. Jesus Christ. The motion blur is just insane. At least it feels like you're going really fast still, even though we're getting 21 FPS. And it's not really stuttering anymore, which is interesting, you know? Oh my god! Whenever you're going sideways, the motion blur is just insanely intense. Oh gosh, it's dropping from 20. Oh, so bad. Damn it! Use your blinkers, bastard. Anyways, yeah. Sometimes I ask myself why I do this. I am ruining your eyes and my eyes, and I'm kind of getting a little bit of a headache right now. The motion blur definitely doesn't help it. And getting out of the tunnel, let's see. It's not intensive. Dropped to 15 there. Okay, so at very low settings, you don't get that HDR effect. Let's stop it. Okay, that's enough. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I probably won't get another video out today because Actually, you didn't know that, but today's my birthday. Thank you very much. Love you all. Bye bye.